Now, sometimes you have a situation where a person thinks he has bitachon, thinks he has confidence in Hashem, because in reality everything is going well for him. He's got a little bit of money in his pocket, he's got a house, he's paying the bills, got a wife, kids, he's got a husband, kids, everything's going okay. And he tells, how's it going? Oh, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Everything you're asking, Baruch Hashem. So it looks like, oh wow. And then, better yet, sometimes they like to critique other people. They say, listen, why are you so down? Have bitachon in Hashem. Have bitachon in Hashem. You see other people down. They have bitachon in Hashem. Why? Because they have bitachon in Hashem, or at least they think they do. And that's what the section is today. The section is about that. Because Chazon Ish says, a lot of people think they have bitachon until the big test shows up. Till the big test shows up and you realize they don't have bitachon. But now he gives us, in the second chapter, third section, he gives us a story. He gives us a story, and B'siyat Dishmai talks about Reuven. It's not me though, I didn't know him yet. But perhaps he is talking about me, I don't know, we'll see. Look at this story, but Ezrat Hashem, we'll learn from this story enough to get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Chazon Ish says, ומה שאנו רואים בחיים, ראובן, איש מוסרי, וזמרת הביטחון על דל שפתיו, תמיד מגנה את רוב ההשתדלות, ומתעב את הרדיפה אחר פרנסה, ואומנם הוא איש מצליח. ובחנותו לא יחסר לו לקוחות, ואיננו זקוק לרוב ההשתדלות, אמנם אוהבו את הביטחון, כי הלא גם הביטחון מראה לו פנים שוחקות. Translation. What we see in life is people like Reuven, who is a moral person, meaning a person that not only he likes to read Musar, maybe a little bit of Sha'ar Bitachon, maybe a little bit of Chazon Ish, maybe a little bit of Rabbi Victor Miller, all types of Bitachon. This Reuven guy, he's Bitachon. Not only that, he speaks of Bitachon in Hashem, meaning he teaches other people about Bitachon. Listen, why don't you have Bitachon? Why don't you have Bitachon? You should have Bitachon in Hashem. Tells me every time he sees somebody struggling, why are you struggling, Habibi? Have Bitachon in Hashem. You know those people. Those people that, they're always like they're smiling and they're telling you that you should have Bitachon in Hashem. Okay. Says this Reuven, he's a moral person. He has some musar in him. He has a few sfarim, perhaps. And he even likes to talk about Hashem, in the sense of teaching about bitachon. And not only that, he condemns excessive efforts in life. He's like one of those people who says, why are you working so hard? Why are you working so hard? 12 o'clock at night? Go to your wife at 6 o'clock. No, you can... If Hashem wanted you to finish the project today, you would have finished it today. If he doesn't want you to finish the project today, you can work till 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to finish it. What are you working so hard for? You're one of those people. Too much ishtadlut. No, come on, you're killing yourself already. You're like one of those people. He says, shouldn't try so hard. And not only that, the Chazon Ish says, he expresses his abhorrence of constant pursuit of financial means. You always have after money, everything with you is money. What, don't you know that Hashem is the one that gives you parnasah? He even gives you verses. Gemara Masechet Beitzah, page 16. Gemara Masechet Rosh Hashanah, page 16. Bottom 16, 16a, 16b. What do you say? So the Kadosh Baruch Hu gives you parnasah from Rosh Hashanah, from Rosh Hashanah until Rosh Hashanah. Kadosh Baruch Hu already wrote it for you. There's nothing you can do. You can work 2 jobs, 8 jobs, 9 jobs, or no jobs. If Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to give you money, he'll give you money. Why are you working so hard for money? This guy is like a Talmid Chacham in Bitachon, this Reuven. Indeed, what do we also find? But he's a successful person. He's got money though. This guy, this Reuven, he's got money. He lacks no customers in his store. He doesn't need any expend effort for his direction. He's got one of those businesses that pretty much works itself. He's been there for 20 years already. He doesn't need to do any real advertising. People just pretty much show up. He's got one of those businesses that's like a staple. Practically everybody needs it. It's the local deli and he's the only one in town. He's the local hardware store. He's the only one in town. Pretty much anyone needs his goods. There's only one place to go. Reuven. So he's got one of those, he doesn't have to market. All he's got to do is exist. That's all he's got to do for his parnasah. And he's like, well, because listen, I work a few hours a day, I do my parnasah. So he feels like he has bitachon. He has bitachon. He lacks no customers. He doesn't need to expend any effort in that direction. And not only that, he loves the concept of bitachon in Hashem, because even the concept itself smiles upon him. He says he loves talking about bitachon because so far, even the bitachon is smiling at him. Why? He said, listen, when I was 35 years old, I was struggling for money. And look, I had bitachon Hashem, and next thing you know, my store did okay. When I was 25 years old, I was looking for a wife. And look, I found a wife. And he tells you all types of nice stories about how he trusted in Hashem, and Hashem smiled back at him. So he now feels like he's a teacher. He feels like he's an expert in it. And suddenly, we are surprised to see Reuven, that great truster in Hashem, conferring secretly with his assistants and consultant as to how to stop a potential rival who plans to open a store just like his. All of a sudden, there's Mr. Reuven, there's Mr. Bitachon, who tells everybody, Bitachon b'Hashem, why are you working so hard? Look at me, everything's going good for me. All of a sudden, he finds out somebody's opening another hardware store just like his. He finds out somebody's opening a deli just like his. He finds out somebody's opening a laundromat just like his. He finds out somebody's opening a synagogue just like his. And all of a sudden he says, hey, listen, we're going to do something about this. Sonny, we're going to do something about this. Got to take this guy down. You know any guys from Italy? You know anybody from the mother country over there? You know anybody from Russia? Maybe want to go back to the KGB status? You know anybody that can take care of this guy? What happened? What happened to the bitachon? What happened to the bitachon? You said the old Panaseh shows up. Why are you working so hard? All of a sudden, when it starts to hit home and he feels like he's threatened, he starts socializing with some of his people, secretly though, secret. Who can take care of this guy? Make sure that he knows this place is not for him. We got this territory. We got this. This territory is not for him. Rabotai, this happens all over the world, but not just in business. In business, you already know, I don't have to tell you. In business, people simply, they have gotten to a point where I think the generation of Sodom and Gomorrah are saying we weren't as bad as these people. Today, it's become, scamming has become lechatchila. Lechatchila, meaning the preferred way. People today, literally, they don't know how to do business the right way. I got young kids that are in the work world only for a few years, and they keep asking me about new jobs. And they tell me, listen, I have this new job. Okay, what's this job? I don't know, I started it recently, but it feels like something's wrong. What's wrong? Well, we're calling these clients, but they're not really our clients. We're telling them that we are company A, but in reality, we're company B. I said, why would you do such a thing? He said, because if I tell them company A, they're already doing business with company A. And I'm just telling them, listen, I'm calling with company A, but we want to give you an upgrade. In reality, the upgrade is company B, their company. I said, that's lying. You're not allowed to do such a thing. He's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm asking you. There's no question. It's a lie. You have to leave this business. Okay, fine. He leaves the business. Okay, hi, Rabbi, I got a question. What's the question? Listen, we're selling these warranties. Okay, so warranty, I don't know, warranty. Some people like warranties. No, what's the problem? He said, well, the problem is that we're selling the warranty for, I don't know, $500 for these products. I said, okay, fine, sounds kind of expensive, but okay, what does it give you? He says, that's the problem. It doesn't cover anything. He says, so why is it called a warranty? He says, because it covers only the things that no one really needs. He says, so what about the standard stuff that goes bad? He goes, no, it doesn't cover that. I said, do you tell that to the client? He goes, no. They'd fire me if I tell the client. Nobody would buy this warranty. I said, it's a scam. Leave the company. Okay. Rabbi, listen, I got another question. What's the question? We got this business, we're lending money. Okay, lending money is not such a good business for Jews. Yeah, but listen, people that are calling us because they need the money. Okay, so what's the problem? Well, we're telling them, listen, it's a good deal. We'll get them the money in 48 hours. All right. Do you tell them what the terms are and everything? We tell them it's 5%. I said, so that's all you're charging, 5%? He goes, yeah, a week. 5% a week. I said, what do you mean 5% a week? 5% a week is 610% a year. He said, yeah, exactly. This is robbery. You're better off going to his house, robbing his entire life savings and running away than lending him money with 600% interest. And all types of scam businesses. And unfortunately, many of them have some tool that pretends to be religious behind them. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them do. So it gives the lie a element of truth, because you think the guy that's a rabbi, the guy that's a religious, perhaps he's not going to do something illegal. He's not going to do something that's unethical. Wrong. Just because he's got a beard and a hat doesn't mean anything anymore. Today it's become simply lechatchila, preferable to cheat. People don't think they can make money without cheating. They cheat in everything, they lie in everything. But this is not the only place. It also happens, this mentality also happens in, unfortunately, the religious world. When we were looking for communities, I called a few different places. I figured, you know what, I'm going there, there's a community over there that I found that there's some, a few 100,000 Jews, or maybe 20, 30, 50,000 Jews in this area, but only one or two shuls. So I figured, these shuls can't fit 20, 30,000 people. You could always need some more places, and a yeshiva, and so on and so forth. You're not stepping on anybody's toes, because even if they were the most popular, you can't fit everybody there. So I figured, let me befriend some of the local rabbis, and I called the rabbis. Hey, how are you? Listen, I didn't even tell them my name, so just in case. Hey, how are you? Listen, I'm interested in opening a synagogue in your area, and not once, not twice, but 3 different communities, 3 different rabbis gave me the same answer. Why? I said, what do you mean, why? I want to open a synagogue, I want to open a yeshiva, I want to open a school, all types of things that the community needs. He goes, no. If they need anything, we got it. So what do you mean you got it? You got a little shul over there. Maybe you could fit 200 people. He goes, yeah, but if I need more, I'll call my friends. I said, yeah, but I'm going to move there. I'm looking to move there anyway. Would you want to work together? No. You move in here, we're going to give you problems. All right, they tell me to my face. We're going to give you problems. We're going to make sure this. We're going to make sure that. The guy doesn't even know me. He's already threatening me. I said, why are you acting like this? He goes, well, why are you coming here? He tells me. I'm not doing it. You just want to fight. I said, why am I just fight? I'm calling you to just say hello. No. Don't say hello this way. You want me to help you go somewhere else, go to some place where there's nothing there. That's fine. But you coming over here, coming to my territory. My territory. Unbelievable. This is happening, unfortunately, in a lot of places. People have such a warped mentality that they think that if you come with your business or your synagogue or your yeshiva to a vicinity that's close to theirs or even next door or a mile away, automatically you're the enemy. Automatically you're stealing bread from their oven. This is what the Chazon Ish is talking about. Now these people, before this conversation, you ask them, hey Rabbi, can you tell me a shiur about Bitachon? Sure, son, no problem. Gives you a shiur about Bitachon for an hour straight. Gives you books about Bitachon. Tells you how Bitachon. You ask this boss that makes $1 million a year, listen, you have Bitachon Hashem? Sure, Bitachon. So how come you cheat in business? How come you won't allow anybody else in your territories if you own the place? How come? That's what happens. This Reuven, the Chazon Ish says, this Reuven says he has bitachon, he tells people you should have bitachon, but that's only because everything is going good for him. He doesn't have to fight for any business. He's the only deli in town. He's the only laundromat in town. He's the only bet knesset in town. He doesn't have any competition, so he feels like he has bitachon. He feels like bitachon is smiling at him. But the second somebody else wants to come into the vicinity, automatically he starts thinking like a mobster. He starts thinking like a mobster. Starts thinking like a criminal. Starts talking to his assistants. Listen, this guy, he's not listening. We got to take care of him in a different way. We got to show him that we own the place. We run this joint. That's how he's talking. That's how this woman's talking. He says, "Lo, listen. Lo haya v'lo yeh. It will never happen. It's not going to happen. We run this place. This is our area. This is our territory. Even in where we live right now, there's some Joe Schmo over here. that has a monstrosity of a building, calls it a synagogue, even though there's no minyan. Somebody else wanted to open a synagogue. He says, no, 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 you're stepping on my toes. What's stepping on your toes? You don't have a minyan. You have a $5 million building with 8 people. You have a $5 million building with 8 people. What territory? What are you talking about? I'm opening a synagogue. I don't need to ask your permission. No. Listen, if you come here, you open a synagogue, I'm going to give you problems. I'm going to call this. They start threatening you. Mobsters with kippas on. Why? It all stems from lack of bitachon. But not just lack of bitachon, a non-existent bitachon. A non-existent bitachon. There's a pasuk in the Torah that talks about those people. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse number 13. בפיו משפטיו כיבדוני, וליבו רחק ממני. ותהי יראתם אותי מצוות אנשים מלומדה. The Lord said, Kadosh Baruch Hu said to the prophet Isaiah, what did he say? Inasmuch as this people has drawn close, with its mouth and with its lips, it has honored me, yet it has distanced its heart from me. Their fear of me is like rote learning of human commands. What does it mean? He says these people, they are rabbis or religious leaders of some kind. They teach about emunah, they teach about bitachon. He's a local guy that perhaps even funded a synagogue, or he maybe gives some tzedakah and so on and so forth. They say they have bitachon. In their mouth, they honor me. They say, no, Baruch Hashem, we have bitachon Hashem. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the only one that knows what's inside your heart. What's inside your heart. And he tells Isaiah the prophet, he says, Isaiah, don't believe a word that they're saying. The word that they're saying, bitachon, is just in their mouth. Their hearts are distant from me. They're distant from me. So then Isaiah is asking, wait, so how do you explain their show of bitachon with their lips? How do you explain that the guy says bitachon, bitachon, but he doesn't have any? How do you explain that? He says, Yiratam oti mitzvat anashim melumada. Their expression of fearing me, their expression of connecting to me, is just because that's what they learned in school. They learn in school, have bitachon Hashem. They learn in school, yeah, all types of things, all types of mantras, all types of sayings, and that's what they say. They say have bitachon, they say have emunah, but they don't really believe it. They don't really know what it is even. Robots. Robots, that's all they are. Their lips honor me. Words that they say honor me. Hearts far away, distant from me. This is exactly what the Chazon Ish is telling us. He's telling us, Rabotai, that there are such people. There are such people, and unfortunately many of them, that the second that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends some person into their community that has the same store, automatically they view this person as competition, as an enemy, and they start conspiring against him. One of the most common ways to do it is Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara, simple. Oh, you go to Shimon's store now, the new store. Yeah, it's good. Sorry I didn't go to your store. Like, no, Mabruk, enjoy, they tell you. No, you like his store, you like his stuff, you got nice stuff, right? Yeah, actually, I do like his stuff, the woman says. I do like his stuff. Oh, okay, well, I mean, it's too bad that you can have gezel on your hand. But, it's okay, you like it. Well, hold on a second. What gezel? What are you talking about? What? I didn't steal any money. No, I'm not saying you stole anything. It just, words travel, and, I don't know, just somebody says the reason why there's such good prices is because, something fell off the truck, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to say Lashon Hara. I'm not going to say Lashon Hara. Start giving you the idea that the goods you're buying are stolen, or that he is some type of other criminal, and start creating all types of things. All types of rechilut, all types of Lashon Hara, all types of other things. Oh, you do business with them? Yeah. Well, listen, you do realize that he's not a kosher person, right? You do realize that somebody saw him someplace, and they start making up all types of stuff. All types of stuff. Why? They conspire, secret. Secret. And then he continues, because this guy, Reuven, is trying to stop anything this rival is doing, because he views him as a rival. He doesn't view him as a fellow Jew. She doesn't view her as a fellow Jew. She views her, no. She came into my territory, she's an enemy. She's a Amalek. She's a missionary. She's everything else. Why? She's hurting my pocket. As if HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself is not the one that's controlling what's going in our pocket. So then, the Chazon Ish continues, Reuven is very upset by this threat. At the beginning, he keeps his feelings to himself because he's embarrassed to reveal them to his acquaintances, fearing their derision. In the beginning, Reuven doesn't tell everybody. He just tells his close people, the ones that work for him, the people that he can tell him what to do, but no one's going to say anything back because he pays their salaries. You put some graffiti on the store. You order some goods as if you're some customer, but don't pay for it. You do this, you do that. He tells only his close little minions. Why? He can't tell his friends. Because he tells his friends, these are the same friends that he told him, why don't you have Bitachon? You should have Bitachon, Parnasah comes from Shamayim, all that stuff. So he's afraid that if he tells his friends, they're going to lose respect for him. But this is only for a limited amount of time. Why? With time, Chazon Ish says, he loses his sense of busha. He loses his sense of shame. This concern about people judging him, that he is, he doesn't have really bitachon like he said he did, out in the garbage. He's not afraid of what people think anymore. In fact, he starts conjuring up new excuses. He loses his sense of shame, and he begins to act openly with the aim of preventing the rival from carrying out his plans. He starts getting in the way. All of a sudden, the city shows up at his new store. The city shows up at his new building. Oh yes, how can I help you? Yeah, we got an anonymous call. We got an anonymous call that you guys weren't building according to code. We got an anonymous call. Really, it's Reuven. We got anonymous. They always get anonymous calls. Like my next door neighbor that anonymously called the city because he didn't like how my sukkah looked in my backyard. This Amalek called the city anonymously, as if I wouldn't know it's him. Why? Because the pictures that the city showed me, that they knew that the sukkah was there, because no one sees it from the front, it's in my backyard. The pictures, where they come from his backyard. But when he sees me, he says hello. He says, how you doing? Amalek. Amalek. Reality is people anonymously. They think that Hashem is not watching. They think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not watching. It's a complete joke. But that's what happens every day. The city comes, there's some other Joe Schmo comes, and he says, yeah, we got an anonymous call that there's noise coming out of your apartment. We got an anonymous call that you're not building to code. We got an anonymous call that such and such. Where's this anonymous call coming from? From this guy. From this Rasha Reuven. From this Rasha Reuven that doesn't have any bitachon in Hashem. Why? He saw somebody moving in, he doesn't like it. Why? He's on my turf. He's on my turf. Yeah, but you don't own this property. No, this is my area. It's been my area for 20 years. So now, Rabotai Yekarim, Chazon Ish tells us a real life story that literally is happening as we speak. Happens every day in all types of communities. People always call all these Reshaim that are jealous of their neighbors, jealous of their competitors, jealous of their fellow Jews. What do? They're like Muslim, Moisel. They call the authorities, but anonymously. Why? Because they don't want to be disclosed that their hatred is such. But this is only temporary. Eventually, it goes out in the open. In the beginning, it's secret, but eventually, it goes out in the open. He starts telling people about his plans. Why? He has to prevent this Reuven from carrying out his plans. This Shimon from carrying out his plans. Gradually, he gravitates toward the crooked path, and his sense of shame evaporates completely. Little by little, this Reuven sees that this Shimon continues his plans. He's continuing to build a store. He's continuing to build the yeshiva. He's continuing to build the school and everything else. He can't handle it. He tried a few things and it didn't work. So now he starts doing things that are beyond the law. against the law. Starts calling people that are criminals. Hey, Joey, why don't you go to Shimon's house and let him know that we're not so happy with him. Hey, Steve, why don't you go to Shimon's house and tell him this is warning number 2. Hey, Sergio, why don't you bring some of your friends from the KGB and tell this guy in your own words that we're not so happy, that he's got a store over here. Maybe he should move to Mexico. Maybe he should move to Honolulu. Maybe he should move to somewhere else, just not here. Tell him that we'll give him some, some going away money. He starts acting like a criminal. He could be 5 feet tall with arms that are shorter than a dinosaur's, but he feels strong. He feels strong. Why? He's like these people that can tell other people what to do. This is very common on the internet. We call them keyboard warriors. A lot of people, they feel strong behind the keyboard, behind the screen. Start writing all types of comments, start writing all types of hate mail, start making all types of nonsense on the internet. Why? To hurt you. And they do it openly in the beginning, they do it behind the scenes, eventually they do it in front of the scenes. They go onto your Facebook profile and they write you a negative recommendation. Oh yeah, don't believe these people, they're all about the money. Oh, don't, all types of nonsense. Why? Because they feel like you're in their territory. And it doesn't matter, it's not just business, it can be spirituality also. And they use all types of crooked paths. He openly commits low and deplorable actions. In public. The competition between him and his rival becomes widely known, and it's the talk of the town. And still he feels no shame, but rather comes up with the baseless and untrue reasons and explanations in order to justify his actions. He tells people, listen, you see that guy, I told you he's not doing good business. The government showed up and he's been shut down for a few days. Yeah, what government? You're the one that called the government. Yeah, I called the government because I'm protecting you guys. I'm protecting the public. I knew he was stealing. How'd you know he's stealing? You saw it? Listen, I saw enough. He never saw nothing. He just accused his rival for stealing just because he thinks he's stealing his money. In his mind, he said, listen, I didn't see him steal from customers, but obviously if he's stealing my business, surely he's stealing customers' money too. He starts doing all types of calculations in his head to rationalize his evil, to rationalize his wicked ways. Over time, he becomes even more sophisticated and adds new explanations, claiming that everything he's doing against his rival is for the sake of heaven and is morally acceptable. Listen, I'm going against him because he's a wicked person. He's a terrible person. He's a person that's hurting the public. That's why I'm doing it. How is he doing it? He's teaching Torah. How is he doing it? No. He's not teaching it like my rabbi teaches. Yeah, but maybe your rabbi has his way and his rabbi has his way. As long as he's not saying something that's against the Torah, there's no problem. There's plenty of rabbis out there. Different people have different shitot. You don't necessarily need to be friends with everybody. You don't necessarily need to agree with everybody. The entire Gemara is full of machlokets, of different debates between the rabbanim. Yet they still loved each other enough that they married their kids to each other. You don't have to necessarily be on the same way or even speak the same way. But if he says things that are against the Torah, that's a different story. And this happens a lot. Many times, Baruch Hashem, we've seen people that are saying things that are against the Torah. When I see it, if I see that this is a danger to Am Yisrael, of course, we have an obligation. We have a Torah obligation to go and rebuke and protest. Not just rebuke, but also protest. You have to call out to Hashem. You have to call out to the people to let them know this is wrong. When someone like Shmuley Boteach promotes and pretty much says that homosexuality is not a bad thing, or some of these other jokers that we've discussed in the past are saying things that are against the Torah, we have to protest and we have to rebuke. These are two separate mitzvot. But then sometimes people think that it's just, I like to fight. I like to fight. Like I have nothing better to do with my life. I like to fight. So they start sending me all types of people. Anybody that just doesn't sound exactly like I do, they figure maybe he's a heretic. Maybe we can get another fight. And of course, some people mean well. Some people just like to see fights. Some people just like to see fights. And that's actually what the Chazon Ish starts to say over here. He fools himself into thinking, into believing this, and fools others too. Who does he fool? Simple people, and those who love a good fight. And usually he attracts fight mongers and gossip lovers. This guy, he attracts other people with his new argument. He says, no, I'm only calling the IRS against this guy. I'm only calling the FBI against this guy. I'm only calling the city against this guy because I know he's crooked. How do you know he's crooked? No. If he's stealing, if he just moved in here without asking me for permission, surely there's something wrong with him. Surely he's not a good guy. Surely he's not one of us. Yeah, but you didn't see him do anything wrong. So who's supporting this guy? People that like fights. People that like fights. Yeah, you know what? He should have asked you. Yeah, you know what? Who's he to just come out here? Who does he think he is? And they start saying things. Same thing happens, unfortunately. Sometimes I'll say something against somebody. Why? Not for them personally. Not for them personally. I care less about personal lives. There's nothing to do with personal lives. When I speak against Muli Boteach or Manis Friedman or Dror Kasuto or Merlevis or Efrem Goldberg, I'm not talking about them personally. I care less about the personal situation. It's nothing to do with it. The only time I mention them is based on the things that they say that are against the Torah. We have to defend the Torah. We have to protest when people that are supposed to be Torah leaders are saying things that are against the Torah and misleading people. But, of course, you're always going to have some people tag along and support you, not for the right reasons. Not for the right reasons. Why? They just like to fight. Yeah, he's stupid too, this old man. Well, who said he's stupid? What are you talking about? I never said he's stupid. What are you talking about? Yeah, he's ugly too. What ugly? What's that have to do with anything? What, am I dating him? What is the difference to me? Oh, no, I cursed him out. Why? Why did you curse him out? Yeah, I know I sent him an email from Anonymous. I told him, listen, if you continue, I'm going to kill you. I'm like, what? Who told you to do this? What's wrong with you? You're turning this into some personal battle. What are you, crazy? Anytime I knew something like this happened against even the people that I consider them Reshaim complete, according to the Torah, I tell people don't do such things. We're specifically talking about their Torah perspective that's wrong, and they're misleading the public. They're misleading the public. To go and start calling names and things of that nature it's not part of the equation. But of course, the people that like to fight, they're going to do it. They like it. And that's the problem. There's no way to avoid it. There's no way to avoid it. If you're going to go public against somebody, you're going to carry some good people that are simple and they want to the truth. Okay, this is the truth. Yes, we're against this person because he's doing things that are against the Torah. And these are good people, and they're supportive, and they're fantastic people, and we need them. But there's sometimes going to be people that just like to fight. How do you know if they like to fight or they're simply fighting for the sake of Torah? If they continue fighting for the right reason, or they just start looking for fights. If they fight for the right reason, they know this is the truth. I'm going to go in this path. I'm going to focus on this path. I'm going to focus on growing myself spiritually. I'm going to focus on growing my emunah, my bitachon, my yirat shamayim. I'm going to focus on that. But the people that like to fight, what do? They start searching the internet for rabbis and different people that talk against what we say. Oh, look, Rabbi, look, I found this one. Oh, yeah, last week you gave me another guy. Who are they? You watch all these shiurim? No, I just surfed the internet. I saw this guy talking, and he said something that I don't think it sounds right. What, are you looking for fights? You're looking for fights? That's all you're doing? There's even a situation where some people literally build entire websites or YouTube pages or Facebook pages where all they do is insult other people, insult other rabbis. One of the recent ones that we talked about is this idiot that is publicly insulting the Baal Tanya, publicly saying, call him a heretic, in the name of the Gra, in the name of the Gaon Vilna. Complete nonsense. The Gaon Vilna never called him a heretic. Surely the Gaon Vilna did not agree with the way Hasidut was spread and how it was being taught, but he never called him a heretic. He never called the Tanya a heretic. You're not going to see anything in the Gaon Vilna Sfarim saying, oh, the Tanya is a heretic. Actually, to my knowledge, I don't even think they were alive at the same time. I think he died when he was born, or when the Tanya came out. But either way, people like to fight, so they're going to create something up. Yeah, since it's well known that the Gaon Vilna was not for Hasidut. He didn't like the way Hasidut was being spread. Not that Hasidut was heresy, it was wrong per se, but that he didn't like certain things about it. He never called the Baal Shem Tov a heretic. He never called the Baal Shem Tov a kafir. But what are these people say? Yeah, since I don't like Chabad, so what am I going to do? I'm going to destroy the root of Chabad. I'm going to go and say that the Tanya is a heretic. I'm going to call this one's a heretic. Who said this? What are you doing? You're just fighting for no reason? Do you understand what kind of damage you're bringing to your life? The Gemara says, someone that insults Talmidei Chachamim, en tufa lemakato. A person that insults real Talmidei Chachamim, there is no cure to his ailment. Now you're going to ask me, yeah, but what about the arguments at the time of the Rambam? The arguments at the time of the Rambam, some of the big Chachamim at that day, the Gdol Hador at that time thought that the Rambam was a heretic. Yeah, he was a Gdol Hador. He can say it. You can't. Why? He's saying it in the name of the Torah, based on his understanding of what he was doing and what he was doing, and his misunderstanding of what he was doing. Same thing with Rabbi Yonah, same thing with many of the Chachamim. Sometimes they use very spicy words. You could even say certain things like Rav Shach said about the Lubavitcher Rebbe. They obviously, he did not care for his Shita at all, and he did call him horrible things. But guess what? He can do it. The Talmidim can't. The Talmidim can't. And better yet, spreading that information today is not going to create anything other than fights, other than hatred. Like if you now publicize a new video or a new letter or an old letter by Rav Shach, which was publicly against the Lubavitcher Rebbe and Chabad and so on, very well known, and some big Chachamim like Rav Ovadia said that, you know what, Rav Shach is not wrong. I'm not fighting along with him. He's not joining the fight, Rav Ovadia said, but he's not wrong about what the things that he's saying. Now, publicizing some of the horrible statements that he said, or perhaps better yet, some of the horrible things that some of the students of the Lubavitcher Rebbe said and did to the Rav Shach, what is that going to do for you today? Who's going to do tshuva as a result of it? Who's going to get closer to Hashem as a result of it? All it's going to do is create hatred. There are times that we mention certain things for educational reasons. It's part of the shiur, it's part of the argument, it's part of what we're doing. But to just publicly post posters or sayings just to advocate, oh, we hate this guy, we hate that guy, you, my friend, are Rasha. That's all you are. You're Rasha. You like to fight. You like to create tension between Am Yisrael. Because if you really were doing it for Shamayim, every single message that would come out of your mouth or off your keyboard will have to have some type of message that, okay, what can we learn from this? How can we build from this? How can we help people from this? To just simply insult a bunch of people that follow certain teachings blindly, what's it going to do for you? Now, yes, you're going to say, yeah, but you mentioned things against Chabad. I never mentioned things about Chabad. I mentioned things against people that are worshiping the Rebbe, just like I did earlier today. What they're doing is wrong. It's wrong according to the Rebbe. It's wrong according to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even more so. My message is to try to get to them to hear this, and hopefully help a few that still have eyes that they can see and ears that they can hear. But I also take a lot of heat because of it, because the ones that don't have eyes to see and ears to hear, all they do is attack me all day. But along with that message comes a whole shiur of things you need to stay away from and things you need to do to get better and so on and so forth. It's not just a blanket statement of hatred. And there's a very significant difference. You can do the same thing. Anybody can do it. But it has to be done a certain way. To just blanket out there, curse everybody out, and just say I hate everybody, that's not producing any good whatsoever. This is one of the reasons why many times people publicize the one verse or one saying of one of the Chachamim, and yeah, many times these are good things, but sometimes it's better not to post them. It's better not to post them. Why? Because you see, This, yeah, it may give chizuk to 6 people, but it's going to offend 6,000. Like, you have to think a little deeper if you really care about Am Yisrael. You can't just insult people for no reasons. One of the things that requires some, serious machshava, serious thought process behind it.